Welcome to Undisputed, live from Los Angeles. Happy 4th of July. I'm Joy Taylor, here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Let's get it started with the Finals MVP. ESPN is reporting Kevin Durant will agree to a 2-year deal for approximately $53 million. The Finals MVP could have made $34 million per year, but he will be taking over $9 million less than the max. That extra money helped the Warriors re-sign Andre Iguodala and Sean Livingston to 3-year deals. Skip?
Yes.
What does this tell you?
Yeah, what is
Shannon Sharpe. What happened 1 year ago today? Kevin Durant shocked the NBA world. Didn't surprise me, but he shocked most of the NBA world by leaving his little buddy Russell Westbrook and joining forces with all that super team, that power team out the Bay Area, right?
The fireworks off early, huh?
He kicked them off early, and he shot some more yesterday because this was a stunner, and I don't think people are letting it quite sink in yet, just what he pulled off, because to me, Kevin Durant just beat LeBron in the finals, and he beat LeBron at the bargaining table, because I think he just ensured that after he beat LeBron in the 2017 finals, that he's once again going to pretty easily beat, along with his teammates, and he's got two that he kept, as Joy just pointed out, in the 2018 finals, which would mean LeBron would fall to 3-6? 3-6 in finals? That doesn't sound very good. So Kevin Durant was the MVP of the past finals. Then he just became the MVP of the offseason because Kevin Durant was scheduled to make, could have made, the Supermax salary of $34.5 million. But he chose to take about $10 million less than that salary, because that salary would have forced Golden State to renounce the rights to Andre Iguodala and to Sean Livingston. I would say those are two pretty key pieces in that rotation, wouldn't you?
Yep.
Especially Iguodala. I'll give you Sean Livingston too, but Iguodala would now be a San Antonio Spur, if not for what Kevin Durant did yesterday. And because he did that, he also saved his owner about $20 million in luxury tax, but I don't think that was Kevin's goal here, even though I'm sure the owner somewhat appreciated that. But the point is that unlike LeBron James, I'm going to say this one more time, Kevin Durant followed the blueprint set by Tim Duncan back in 2013, 2014, and the blueprint set in the NFL by one Tom Brady over the last 5 years. Both of those superstars have taken far less than they deserve to make so that their roster could be stocked with role players with which they win championships. Again, back in 2013, 2014, Tim Duncan took about $10 million less than he should have gotten. He should have been a $20 million player because he'd obviously earned that, and he took around $10 million in those 2 years. They would have won the championship in 2013 if not for Ray Allen, and they did win it. No, stop it. But they did win in 2014 by a record finals margin over LeBron's team because of all those role players like Patty Mills and Danny Green and Boris Diaw, all of whom would not have been on that roster if not for Tim Duncan taking far less, half of what he should have taken. And we've seen Tom Brady do it again and again and again over the last 5 years with the Patriots, who are stocked with all sorts of Amendolas and Edelmans and role players who helped him win Super Bowls. So, bottom line, LeBron James is scheduled to make $33.3 million. And you can do all your cap mumbo-jumbo that you want to throw back at me, but I still say if starting 4 years ago, LeBron had said, I don't need that much money. I made $55 million off the court last year, according to Forbes magazine, then they could have added more star power in the lower echelons. What did LeBron say a couple of months ago after that fateful loss?
I don't know what he said back in February.
He said, we're top-heavy as, and I can't say the word on television, but he said, as you know what, that word that starts with S. And
shucks.
They were top-heavy as shucks. And you got it. But they were. Again, LeBron's got the highest basketball IQ I know of, any active player. Yeah. So he was right. They're just too top-heavy. It's Kevin Love and Kyrie and LeBron, and then, I don't know, but maybe if the big dog didn't make 33.3, maybe some little dogs could help them maybe measure up to Golden State, not losing 5 games in next year's finals. Just a thought.
You done? You finished?
You got notes?
Yeah. I was just,
you better have lots of notes.
I was just jotting this down.
Yeah.
Skip, before I That's it, what you just said. First of all, I do not begrudge Kevin Durant. That was his decision. He chose to give back almost $10 million. I'm sure he has very good reasons. First of all, he saved the owners $9.5 million in salary. Why? Why would he do that, Skip?
For Iguodala and Livingston.
Okay. This move also saved the owners, billionaire owners, Joe Lacob, Peter Gruber, $20 million in salary cap.
I don't think that was his goal, but it was a nice icing on that cake.
No. It would be hard for me to believe that these young men did not sit Kevin Durant down and his representative and said, if you do this, this is what we can do. Kevin Durant, as smart as he is, he doesn't worry about salary cap and doesn't worry about, well, if I make this, that means they can't get that. That's the intricacies of that needs to be handled by front office management of the Warriors and his representative. This is what I can't understand. And I've racked my brain and I've gone back and forth with this, is how billionaires can convince millionaires to take less money while they make more money and have to spend less. I've never understood that, Skip. If you think about this, when teams, regardless of the sport, when they release a player, when they trade a player, what is the first thing they yell out, Skip? I'm doing what is best for the team. If you notice, the owners will always do what's best for the team. Well, if you are a billionaire and you can convince a millionaire to take less while you make more, it's always going to be what's best for you. Tell me the situation where a billionaire says, you know what? These workers are getting laid off. And you know what? I don't want anybody else to get laid off. I'm going to forego my money, and I'm going to make sure these guys have jobs.
Okay, but that's apples to oranges, not the same.
They
because
put them
if
in a
I
fruit
told
basket.
Shannon Sharpe as an NFL player, I'll give you $50 more million, but you have to give me back all 3 of your Super Bowl rings, what would you have said?
And you want the Hall of Fame one too?
You take it. Okay, I don't believe you. I just don't believe you. I'm sorry, I don't believe you.
But here's the thing, Skip. Why should I have to worry about what? That's your job. Skip, think about this, Skip. I mean, let this sink in. The guy, they bought this team in July of 2010 for $450 million. Joe Lacob, Peter Gruber. They were valued in Forbes magazine in February worth $2.6 billion.
It happens with every team that ever gets bought. It just escalates in value.
So while they escalate in value,
it's good being king, man. It's good being the owner. But nobody really cares who Joe Lacob is. They don't care. They really care who Kevin Durant is, and now they really care more because he has a ring and a Finals MVP.
I don't have a problem with that, Skip. I'm not begrudging him, but I'm asking the question, is that how can and you see this in football, how can a guy that's worth 4 or 5 times what Kevin Durant is worth can convince him to take less money where he makes, think about it, Skip, they got this shiny new stadium, arena that they're getting built. This saves him in luxury tax, $20 million. So you're saving a billionaire $20 million while you're a millionaire taking $10 million less. I don't understand that. Now, Kevin Durant, that's his choice. That's his money. None of that money is coming out of Shannon Sharpe's pocket. So I don't begrudge him for doing it. I just don't understand how teams can say, we're always doing what's best for the team, be it trade a player, be it release a player. But a player, he's giving up money doing what's best for the team. The owner's doing what's best for the team. Well, hell, I can't win.
Okay, the reason you can't win is because you collectively as a group of NBA players signed off on the fact that you allowed the owners to keep what I call a soft salary cap, but it still is a cap.
Yes.
And it still has a wall that you're going to hit at some point. And because of that wall, it's going to require the star players to make hard choices. A $10 million choice that Kevin Durant just made. And again, he's made a whole lot of money in his lifetime, so he's saying, I would rather give up that 10 and have a second ring next year. And you could make a case he won that ring yesterday.
Can I ask you a question? Is there a cap on how much owners can make?
No.
So let me, just for the sake of my argument here, the guy's worth
Okay.
2 points. Hold up now.
Again, but you got to argue for the players. Why didn't they hold out longer? Why didn't they say no?
And no.
At some point, they have to say, no, we're more valuable than that. We don't need a salary cap.
No. I'm not saying that. If you want a salary cap, you negotiate whatever. All I'm saying is why, if there's no limit on how much a guy can make, but there's a limit on how much a player can make, why would you give that back when there's only a limit on what you can make? The owners are not, let me ask you a question. What owner is giving money back when they don't be on television? What owner is giving money back?
Well, it's a matter of priorities.
Owner's priority, which is money. But they convince the players that your priority should be winning championships.
Shannon Sharpe.
Yes.
It's called America. It's God bless America. It's only in America. It's capitalism at its greatest. These owners can make billions of dollars.
Stop saying that. Okay? God bless America. It said God so loved the world. He didn't mention no America.
Okay. Well, I'm just asking God to bless us. Is that okay? Is that fair? Thank you.
Well, I will ask him to bless everybody.
Okay.
But Skip, okay, how about this, Skip? How can it be a situation where there's no limit on how much you can make, there's a limit on how much I can make, and you can convince me that I should take less so you make more so we can continue to win? That's your job. You figure it out. I
just told you the players had the right to hold out and say, no, we don't accept those terms.
Skip, they still could have signed Andre Iguodala. They still could have signed Sean Livingston. They'd have had to be in luxury tax. They'd have had to pay more. They
were going to have to, if he went for 34.5, which he was qualified to make, then they would have to renounce the rights to both of those guys.
Skip, you became a billionaire. You'll figure it out. Those are smart people. And you keep talking about LeBron, and I keep telling you, Bron and I are not taking pay cuts. Dan Gilbert is worth $5.
Are you his agent now? Or
yeah, me and Rich Paul.
Okay.
Got a call in the Rich holler at your boy. Yeah. Dan Gilbert is worth $5.9 billion. Forbes magazine estimates. You know, I read a lot of Forbes. Skip. You know, I'm fascinated with money, Skip. But I don't. You know,
the same Forbes that said LeBron made $55 million off the court just last year. That's just last year.
That same one. There's a Turkish proverb that says, "A fool prays for money, a wise man prays for happiness." Although I'm infatuated with money, it's not the end-all, be-all for me. But I say this: Dan Gilbert's worth $5.9 billion. LeBron, they estimate, is worth around $400 million. So a guy that's worth probably 12 to 14% less, you want him to take less money so the billionaire can become even more wealthy than he already is. Okay. LeBron says, I'm not doing it. First of all, you getting me on the cheap.
Then you're going to be 3-6 in the finals, LeBron. That's what I just said.
Don't worry about it.
It's shaping up that way.
It ain't shaping up like Skip. Finals are not won in July. The Golden State, I know today was a very, very great day for them. They got Kevin Durant and everything came together. But there's no foregone conclusion that they're going to win 3 or 4 of these things in a row.
So if you say money can't buy happiness, I think rings can buy more happiness than money. That's just my priorities. You say no. You would have given up all your rings and your Hall of Fame bust for another $50 million.
But Skip, you say that. I'm not, first of all, I'm glad, and there have been a lot of conversation at the back of these buses when we're going to and from events. If you had a choice between a Super Bowl ring and a Hall of Fame ring. And Michael Irvin and I, we're always sitting in the back. We're always holding court. And I'm first to say, I'm glad I ain't got to make that decision. Because I'm very fortunate. I have 3 of one, and I have also the other. But Skip, my job was not to be in a situation or have them put me in a situation says, okay, we want you to take less. Hell, I was already being underpaid. We want you to take less. We're going to make more so we can. If you went on a regular job and you asked the guy.
Don't do it. This is not the real world we're talking about. This is professional sports.
Skip.
Don't try to apply it to the everyday 9 to 5 worker.
I'm gonna let the really, really smart people, because I always assume that people that build things up, and you hear a lot of these stories, they came to America with $100 or $300 or whatever, that build these and become billionaires. I'm sure they can figure out a way how we can pay Shannon Sharpe or we can pay Kevin Durant what he's properly owed under the terms of what the players and the owners have collectively bargained. I'm sure we can come to some kind of resolution where everybody can be happy. Now, Mama Durant said, I want him to get all his money. But like she said, Kevin's grown. Kevin's going to do what's best for Kevin. And Kevin Durant felt this was what was right with him. Skip, I'm not begrudging. I don't want people to say, well, Shannon, you count. No. It's just hard for me to fathom how can billionaires convince millionaires. And it seems the fans always side with the billionaires.
The millionaire is not destitute. Kevin's still going to make $26 million. That's not all that bad, right?
In the relationship to how much the Golden State Warriors are going to make.
Okay.
What percentage of that?
Okay, but what did we talk about? What if Kevin had opted to stay with Russell Westbrook for 4 or 5 more years? Let's say he played out to 15 or 16 years.
No, he had run his course. That had run its course.
Okay, but I'm just saying, what if he had chosen to, and it kind of went from bad to worse, and they fell out in the first or second round of the playoffs, and it just kept happening over and over. And let's just say, hypothetically, Kevin Durant finished his career with no rings.
Yes.
There's shame attached to that.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Durant, you won all those scoring titles, and you were an MVP, and you got no rings?
Oh, yeah,
he would hear that the rest of his life.
You're right, Skip, because we play so much. We look at players now, regardless of the sport, if he doesn't have a ring, he's a bum. It's not like he can be. And I've always said this, Skip, you can be great and not have championships, but to have the EST attached to the end, the greatest championships are warranted. So, Skip, I don't have a problem with what Kevin did. If Kevin would have stayed, that was Kevin's decision. Kevin left, I got no problem with that.
I don't either.
But for him to take $10 million less while a billionaire can make $20 million more, I just don't get that.
He doesn't care. I think Kevin's doing just fine.
No.
He got his first ring. He's on his way to his second ring. And today, 1 year after his decision to take his talents to that coast, not to South Beach, but over there to the Bay Area, I want to applaud Kevin for surviving the internet beating that he took 1 year ago today. Because it was hellacious strong against Kevin. How can you do this? How can you sell out?
Well, he plugged his ears with $25 million. Skip, when you got money like that, you can't hear anything.
Did he not rise and shine in these NBA Finals in ways that shocked me? I did not see that coming, and I believe that Kevin Durant proved, especially down the stretch of what became the pivotal Game 3 of this series, he proved he is now the best player on this planet.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did not.
No, he did not prove that, Skip. Stop.
You know how he proved it? Just with that sort of walk up, that jog up 3 that he shot in LeBron's face.
Skip.
That was it, man. That's it. That's game over.
Let me ask you a question. He played unbelievable in these 5 games. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, he'd have played those 5 games in the Western Conference Finals the year before, just like he played this. What would have happened, Skip?
Well, okay, but he didn't.
Okay.
He fell short. His teammate fell short. They both came up real little down the stretch of those games, and then he came up real big on the biggest stage in the sport, and he was the MVP, deservedly so.
Yes.
And he made the 2 big shots down the stretch of Game 3 that won it, and LeBron came up very small with 3 late opportunities to win or tie the game.
I will say this. Kevin Durant played unbelievable. He deserved to be the MVP. But LeBron James solidified and reaffirmed his dominance of the NBA.
He did?
With averaging a triple-double. He lost to the better team. Better team.
I think he lost to the better player, especially when it mattered most.
You do realize that Steph Curry averaged 28 and averaged more rebounds.
He made all the big shots.
Oh, in game 5, Skip, every time the Cavs got close, Kevin Durant had water to put the fire out. I don't have no problem with that, Skip. Kevin Durant's a phenomenal player. He's the second best player. I've always felt he was the second best player. You think Kawhi Leonard is the best player. Kawhi Leonard is on down.
Well,
oh, really?
That's a whole other conversation. You know, once upon a time, LeBron James took less money.
Yeah, he did. And when he came back, what did he say?
And
what
so
did
Wade, and so did Bosh.
I never,
and it got him his first championship.
It did.
And his second
But
championship.
after he took less money, then as they were introduced, he said not 5, not 6, not 7. Wasn't that what he's going to say?
He stayed there 4 years. He got 2.
I try to forget that.
2 for 4 ain't bad. You make it seem like he a bum. He 2 for 2.
No mercy.
If you're a NASCAR fan, there's a new podcast for you to subscribe to, Heritage Road, the podcast that drives you down memory lane, takes you under the hood, and gets you behind the wheel of America's favorite racing competition. They talk to the hardworking drivers, crewmen, and fans that make NASCAR possible then and now. From NASCAR royalty Bobby Allison to the broadcasters that brought you racing in homes around the country, they've got all the stories you've probably never heard before. Hosted by the voice of Texas Motor Speedway, Rich Phillips. Brought to you by Busch, the beer that has supported racing since 1979. Subscribe to Heritage Road today for free wherever you listen to podcasts.
No mercy.
Next up, ESPN reported Chauncey Billups withdrew his name from consideration to become the Cavs' president of basketball operations. Billups said the timing wasn't right in Cleveland. He's currently an NBA analyst for ESPN and is playing in the Big Three League. We're joined by Chris Broussard. Welcome, Chris. Happy 4th of July.
Happy holidays to you guys. Happy 4th.
Chris, what did you make of it?
Well, I've heard it came down to money, and that Chauncey wanted $4 to $5 million a year to start, and Dan Gilbert was around $3 million, and that's what it came down to with David Griffin. Griffin wanted 6 to 7, and Gilbert was around the 3 again.
Man, worth worth $5.9 billion, and he want to shortchange these guys out a few. Go ahead.
Okay, but wait a second. I believe Dan Gilbert views himself as at least the co-GM.
Well, he certainly is right now. Him and Kobe Altman, the assistant GM. And Altman may end up getting that job. Look, that's where David Griffin was. He was an assistant GM, got promoted, did a good job. Altman could do the same. And we know, we talked yesterday, they had that 3-team deal set up with Indiana and Denver, and Indiana eventually pulled out. So it looks like they've done a pretty good job without Griffin right now. But I think this also means, and I know Chauncey said he didn't talk to LeBron, and maybe he didn't talk to LeBron face-to-face. I got to believe there was some conversation, indication, maybe talk to some other people around LeBron. But it means LeBron's keeping his options open, which I don't think is a revelation, but he's not going to commit to, I'm there next year, I'm there for the duration, or I'm leaving. Like, he's keeping his options open. And I think Chauncey wanted more money because if LeBron leaves, it's a different job. Not saying he will, but you just don't know.
I'm dating you, Dan Gilbert. I ain't really committing to you. I told you, what's his favorite superhero, Skip? LeBron.
Batman.
Thor.
Is it Thor?
No, but he got that big hammer.
You just made that up.
I did, but he got that big hammer, and every time you remember that big hammer with the things pop up, he hit you on the head. Every time Dan Gilbert pop up, LeBron hit him on his head because you got rid of David Griffin. Boop. I ain't signing long term. You want to do something else? Boop. Hit him on his head. LeBron
sounds like that. That's
a
little hammer he's hitting him with.
Aggressive hammer.
No, but you know LeBron. But you see LeBron got that. When LeBron start doing this thing and he strikes the ground.
Yeah.
Loki feels bad. Oshkosh, from the city. Never mind. But LeBron, I'm glad Chauncey. I know Chauncey a little bit from Colorado. He was in high school when I was there with the Broncos. This is what we know. Dan Gilbert has let a general manager get a second contract while he's been working for Dan Gilbert. Chauncey Billups knows that. The one thing that you want is from an organization is stability. And in that front office, Dan Gilbert and the Cavaliers do not provide the stability that would warrant Chauncey uprooting his family from Colorado and going there with the uncertainty of, because it's a thankless job. You get none of the credit when they win. You take all the blame when they lose. So Chauncey's like, thank you, but no thank you. For $3 million, nah, you give me 5 to 6, because what happens if LeBron leaves? Because we know what happened when LeBron left last time. They got Kyrie, #1 pick overall, also got Tristan Thompson. They got Andrew Wiggins, #1 pick overall, Anthony Bennett. So we know what they are without LeBron. And you actually expect me to take this job for $3 million with the uncertainty and the unstableness of you, who refused to let a general manager get a second contract? Yeah, I wish I might accept this job.
So I know Chauncey a little bit from days at ESPN. And I think he really loves his gig at ESPN and did not really want to give it up. And he's gotten obviously better and better, and he's really embraced his role. So to me, I think he looks at this situation, and again, LeBron has talked openly about David Griffin did a great job, but you're telling me the cap is a mess, right? So, so it's almost like an unfixable mess right now. So I'm not sure if Chauncey took the job, what is there to do or prove exactly? What are you going to do?
You add role players. You're right.
Okay?
Yes.
You're adding more role players.
Right?
That's all you're doing.
And you're going to be sort of tied to LeBron, and you're going to dangle by the thread of LeBron's, shorts almost. Like you're like, are you going to stay or not? Are you going to stay? Because if he leaves, then you're going to start over, right?
It's like a child tugging on his dad.
Yeah, right.
Buy me that.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're doing with LeBron, because you're really at his mercy, Skip.
Yeah.
Well, you know what else? And LeBron, has a big say in that franchise.
Yeah.
And Chauncey Billups, as you both know him, very strong-willed.
He is.
Wants to make his own decisions, not going to, kowtow to anybody. That would have been an interesting situation. He knows LeBron and them, they're friends. Would he have been answering to LeBron like that? And even Ty Lue, that's his best friend.
It
He's the head. Like, it would have been an interesting, lot of dynamics there.
Friends, when one get promoted, changes the dynamic. Because really, I can't look at you as my friend per se, because you're my boss now. And that's something I've always thought about. How different would it be if Ray Lewis or Keith Burns or Daryl McCormick were to become my boss? That's going to change the dichotomy, because we can't joke and laugh and key like we once could, because one of us is in an advantageous situation. You're my boss, so I can't talk to you like homeboy, like we homeboys anymore. That would have been very interesting, because as you mentioned, Ty Lue, it ruined Brian Billick and Jim Fossil's friendship. They had been friendship for 30-plus years. Fossil became the offensive coordinator. Coach Billick was his head coach. He fired him. Yeah. Let's just say that relationship has not been repaired, to my knowledge.
Okay, so bottom line, it's still hard for me to believe, and I think you're on my side on this one, that LeBron, after 15 years of NBA basketball, would then take his talents to Hollywood. Like it just seems like after 15 years, you would say, I'm just going to finish in my home.
We going to the Riverwalk.
You're going to the Riverwalk?
The Riverwalk.
I'll take it.
I would be interested to see how you react to that. So you would have to become the biggest LeBron James fan.
I'm
if
done.
He went to the,
I'm done.
Look, even old LeBron? I'd have to be an old LeBron.
We haven't seen the old LeBron yet. It might be his 17th year or his 18th year before he's the old LeBron.
It might be. I got 19, 20. He'll be like a 20.
You would want to say it's Kawhi's team.
You know what?
But
I might have to get me some LeBron jammies.
I just might. Now you want the bed sheets. Now you want the bed. Yeah.
Where do you get those? Can I find them on the internet?
Carlos
Boozers.
Oh, those are Boozers.
Yeah, that's Boozer's company.
Okay.
Actually, he gonna get me I got a custom bed, 10 by 10. Boozer gonna get me some big old.
Would LeBron come off the bench for my Spurs? Or?
But Skip, you know what, Skip?
Would you want him? I'm a serious question.
I don't know. When, this is 2 years from now, right?
Next summer, would you want LeBron in San Antonio?
Yeah, I would.
No, Brian, don't do it.
You know why? Because he would make a good Spur. Because I've told you, you disagree with me.
No,
he's the best passer in basketball. They love to share the basketball. And I think he would be a great fit. You know what? He could play the point even at age, what would he be? He'd be in like his
34?
18th year. No, wait, 17th.
17th.
Yeah.
At some point, LeBron, I think, should move toward one position. Now he plays everything.
Yeah.
Move toward either the point or the 3 or 4, but, not doing everything. At some point, I think he should do
So, now hold on. Wait a minute now. Now, you said after this loss he was 3-5 in the finals. He shouldn't be mentioned. He go to San Antonio and win a ring. He wins a ring in 3 locales. What that mean, Skip? You know what that mean?
Well, see,
he might win rings if he
wait,
gets
wait a second. He's going to fall to 3-6 in next year's finals.
No. You said that's you
talking.
He
will.
No,
he will. 3-6. So then, if he went to San Antonio and won the next year, he would end up 4-6 in the finals, right?
Maybe 5-6. They could win.
They could
multiples.
win a couple.
That's interesting. Look, I'm with you. Don't go to Hollywood because here's the thing. It's one thing for Paul George to go to the Lakers and not win. You're just Paul George, okay? if you go to the Lakers as LeBron James and you're still the best player in the world, you better win.
No mercy. Tiger Woods was arrested in late May for driving under the influence. Tiger said it was due to a reaction to prescription medication. 3 weeks after that, he announced he was receiving professional help to manage his medication and the ways he deals with back pain and a sleep disorder. Yesterday, Tiger tweeted, "I recently completed an out-of-state private intensive program. I will continue to tackle this going forward with my doctors, family, and friends. I am so very thankful for all of the support I received." Shannon, what's your take?
He said he went through a private counseling and rehabilitation, but he tweets us about it. Look, I'm not a drug counselor, and I guess what you do, you go to these places and whatever the thing, the substance or the issue that brought you there, you get an opportunity to talk to people that's far more knowledgeable than Shannon Sharpe is, and you tell them about your problems, and you can wean yourself off the medications or whatever the substance is that you're on. You get an opportunity to be reflective and get an opportunity to look within yourself and says, okay, this is what I've done. But upon that, Skip, I'm a deeds, not words type of a guy. And by your actions, it will tell me if I don't see you in this situation again, that I believe that you probably kicked the habit or you've turned the corner. For me, I hope Tiger doesn't do things for the optics of it, because when the first incident happened in 2009, he went to rehab. This instance happened, he goes to rehab. And it was, I guess, for pain medication and sleep medication. Skip, I just hope he gets through this issue. I hope what he said is true. And Chris Carter has sat in that seat right there, Skip, on very numerous occasions and say every day is a new day.
It is.
But it's also a new challenge. And he says he will never, ever be completely healed, but he takes it one day at a time, and he wants to stay on that straight and narrow path that he doesn't get off, that caused him to be in a very low, low place. Hopefully, Tiger. Now, my thing is, he got a back issue. Something forced him to take the medication, maybe more than what he needed. Is the back healed? If the back gets hurt again, he tries to swing. It's hard for you to be a golfer, Skip, and not use your back. Now, you can play miniature golf. You can shoot into the clown's mouth and have it go round and round and round. But if you try to get back on tour, what are we going to be again? I just hope that Tiger can find, I hope Eldrick Woods can find his way. I'm not worried about Tiger. I'm worried about the individual that we have seen over the last couple of years go into a very, very dark place.
I'm with you on that. But from what I know about addiction or dependency, I'm not sure it can get cured in, what did he say, about a month, maybe just short of a month?
Yes.
Right.
That seemed a little quick to me. And I'm with you on, then why do you tweet about your private, okay, whatever. But here's what is sad but true, not just about golf right now, but really about sports. Tiger Woods was once the biggest story in sports because he dominated golf, especially as an African American, or what's he, a combination or whatever he called himself. But as a black man, is that fair?
Yes.
Yeah, as a black man, he dominated the sport of golf in ways I think it will never again be dominated. Could be wrong about that. Maybe some kid will come along who will do it, but I'm not sure anybody will ever do it the way he did it.
No.
And yet he remains the biggest story in golf, if not in sports, because this was the biggest story of the day, all day yesterday.
Yes.
Trended all day. All the news sites, the sports news sites, had it as the #1 story that Tiger tweeted that he's out of rehab, basically, after just short of a month. Wow, that's the biggest story of the, huh, interesting. So I'm not saying Tiger's popularity is what it once was, but his notoriety, which has negative connotations sometimes, but his, what do you call that, his Q factor? Or,
Yes,
you know,
Q rating.
Q rating, it's as high as ever, because we await the next TMZ blast or maybe a National Enquirer story about what's going on with Tiger now, because his fall from grace is as spectacular as the way he once dominated a game. Yeah. And what's sad but true, we just took our show to the United States Open, golf.
Yes.
And what happened there? Well, right on cue, the guy you picked to win the tournament, called him Slick Rick, but Ricky Fowler, he came up even smaller than he is, and he's a pretty small guy, on Sunday, which has been his routine. And what happened the first 2 days? The top 3 players in the world, Dustin Johnson, Rory McIlroy, Jason Day, missed the cut. For the first time ever, the top 3 players in the world, since they've had golf rankings, missed a majors cut, all 3 of them. And we all miss Tiger even more. Like, oh, please come back, Tiger. He's 41 years of age, but we know that Phil Mickelson, mid to late 40s, can still compete at a very high level. Please come back, Tiger. And in that U.S. Open, Jordan Spieth was kind of an also-ran. And Brooks Koepka, who I like, I follow him because I'm intrigued by him, but he breaks through and wins. But I don't think anybody was wowed by Brooks Koepka winning our national championship, right?
Skip, think about this. Tiger Woods is the only man when Michael Jordan was in his prime could put Michael Jordan at number 2. Because when he won the Masters in '97,
I would agree.
That was Michael's 5th. That was the second of the three-peat that was about to happen.
Yeah.
Skip, it was all Tiger.
It was Tiger.
All the time.
Yeah.
And if you say, well, who could rival Jordan in his prime? He could.
He could.
He could. Muhammad Ali, and he was an iconic figure, but Muhammad Ali was known for more outside of the ring after than he was in the ring, Skip. In Jordan's prime, and think about what Jordan is now, everybody, no matter where you go, they know who Michael Jordan is.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods had that.
He did.
Tiger Woods had that. And now he's tweeting that he got out of rehab. I hope, Skip. And I was saying the same thing. Is this a drive-through rehab where you drive through and say they got
like
addiction to sleep medications, they got pain medication? They tell you to pull it to the first window, pay $100,000, and then you drive off? Hopefully, like I said, I'm not a drug counselor, but hopefully he talked to the right people, he got the treatment, and he can proceed on with his life. But I'm just disappointed. What's the words? Are you sad? Are you shocked? I think the thing is, Skip, is that we put so much faith in these athletes and we don't realize that they're humans and they have imperfections just like the normal guy, but they can do something better than the normal guy can, be it shoot a basketball, play football, in his case, play golf. But they're fallible. They're human.
I also think that Tiger Woods is shrewd enough and the people on his brand-building, image-making team are shrewd enough that they realize he's becoming more and more of a sympathetic figure to some people. And that when you tweet about, I'm out of rehab, it fuels your new sympathetic following. Well, I do. I do think it does.
I believe that. I believe that, Skip, because how can someone so strong and look so invincible be vulnerable now and be so broken down? And you're like, oh, man, I feel so bad for Tiger. And you get a lot of that, man, I feel so bad for him. Tiger's okay. He's not dying.
No. And yet, I'm with you. Bottom line, do I ever expect him to be Tiger again? Just because of that back issue and broken down this, that, and the other in his body, I just can't believe he's ever going to bounce back and be that guy again.
Well, that's what I think the disappointment is, because his career feels unfinished.
Yeah.
But with everything that's going on, and like you said, with the back issue, it doesn't feel like we're ever going to get that comeback that everyone's kind of on the edge of their seat waiting for.
I mean, think about it. 79 tour wins, 14 majors, and it seems like his career is unfulfilled.
No mercy. ESPN's Adam Schefter is reporting Ezekiel Elliott could still be disciplined by the NFL for an alleged domestic violence incident last July. Elliott has been under investigation by the league for nearly a year. He led the league in rushing last year in his rookie season with the Cowboys. Shannon, what's your reaction?
My reaction is disappointment, because the NFL is trying to overcorrect some wrongs that they got very, very wrong in 2014, Skip. This is what I know. The police is in charge. They investigate crimes, or they investigate what they believe to be crimes. If they find a crime, they write a report, they turn it over to the district attorney. Then the district attorney will decide whether or not, or the attorney will determine whether or not there's a crime and we should charge the person. The police did their homework. I'm not here to relitigate what did or didn't happen, but through their investigative reporting, investigation, the police says, we can't determine if a crime was committed or we don't have enough evidence to proceed. And probably the prosecution looked at it as like, if we took this to a jury, there's no way we'll get a conviction. So basically the police have said, we're done. We've done our homework. We've investigated Ohio. We've investigated Florida. And we've determined there's nothing here.
Yep.
Agree, disagree, however you want to look at it, but that's what they've said. Now, the law of the land has said, this is what we determined. Now comes the NFL, which trumps the law of the land. I'm not saying Roger Goodell is a dictator, but he has dictator-like power.
He does.
Because the police can say, we found nothing here, and because they bungled 2014 so bad with the Ray Rice, with the Greg Hardy, with the Adrian Peterson, he's trying to overcorrect, and because of the optics, and we know how we move, and it's always been, but there's been an uptick in this outcry against domestic violence. So now Commissioner Goodell feels that I have to really lay a firm, solid hammer. But Skip, this is what I would do. If I'm Ezekiel Elliott, I'm not missing a game. And if you force me to miss a game, or if you take my money, I am going to sue you. Because I don't think it's fair that the police have done their homework and said there's nothing there. And because you want the optics, because there's a growing population of women viewers in the National Football League, and you want the sending message that says, hey, we got your back.
Yep.
And I have no problem with that, Skip. If a player is wrong, if they'd have done their homework and they come back and says this happened with Ezekiel Elliott, whatever the punishment would have been, it's normally a minimum of 6 games. Mitigating circumstances can take it up or down. Skip, I got no problem with that. But Skip, when an accusation, so now I'm about to miss time. I could possibly miss time or game checks because of accusations. Nah, Skip, I can't get down with that. I love the NFL. Everything that I have, a lot of what I have, as far as what I've been able to do, has been on the back of the National Football League. Mm-hmm. We talked extensively about that, Skip, but they're wrong. They would be absolutely wrong if they were to suspend this young man a year after the fact, and the police have said, we can't find enough evidence to substantiate a crime being committed.
So, this goes on and on.
Yes!
And on and on. And I'm with you. I don't know what happened between Ezekiel and that woman. Maybe he engaged in domestic abuse or violence that I don't know about or we don't know about. But the police found no hard and fast evidence. Both police in Columbus and down in South Florida gave it up and said, we're done with this because we can't find any more evidence than we've found to begin with.
Right.
And usually the commissioner waits or the league waits for the police to rule one way or the other before they mete out their punishment. So in this case, they've waited and waited and waited. Now no punishment has been meted out by the justice system. And yet, I'm going to throw this out. I've told you before, I know of at least one unreported incident in which Zeke was involved in a nightclub in Dallas this past season. Maybe there's another one that I don't know about, but I'm going to guess the league knows about that or those. And the league definitely knows that on, what was it, St. Patrick's Day, that very publicly he pulled down the woman's top. Is it conduct unbecoming? Yes, it is. Is it enough to suspend? Maybe not in and of itself, but maybe if there's cumulative incidents, maybe enough. But I'm convinced that the NFL is convinced that something went on here domestic violence-wise that they just believe happened enough, like they think they have enough of their own evidence to prolong this, to drag it out. And if nothing else, to just make him sweat, because this is sweat, man. We're getting on toward the opening of camps now. And they continue to drop hints to an Adam Schefter in this case that, well, maybe it might still come. And Adam in his podcast is saying, maybe, maybe not.
And Jerry Jones, I tell you what, Skip, you know Jerry better than I do. If they suspend Ezekiel Elliott, you know what Jerry Jones is going to do? He's going to get on that phone, he's going to start calling them other owners. Now, if he thought he was on the hot seat in 2014 with the fans, he already got one in his corner. He got a guy up in Boston, Massachusetts, that'll walk lock, stock, and barrel with him. Those two guys, they carry a lot of weight, Skip.
Yep.
You do not want to get on their bad side. It's not
to your point. I have never heard Jerry so adamant in defending a player as he's defended Ezekiel on these charges, on these allegations. Yes. And he has been so adamant.
And he said we'd have a problem.
Yes, he did. He went so far as to say we'd have a problem. So he's trying to dismiss it out of hand, as in we've done our own research and there's absolutely nothing here to speak of. Nothing tangible, nothing punishable.
Right.
So that's the owner.
Yes.
And sometimes you'd say, well, it's the owner defending his player, and obviously the NFL Network's top 100 came out, is voted on by the players themselves, and Zeke's all the way up after 1 year in this league at number 7. So he is an extremely valuable commodity to Jerry Jones.
Correct.
So to me, if something was going, this is just my gut feeling, if something was going to happen, if he was going to be suspended, I think it would have already happened. And Adam pointed out, Adam Schefter, that usually the Friday before the 4th of July is a news day in which they break news or mete out punishment or whatever. And it passed. So my gut feeling is nothing's going to happen, but they're going to keep dropping hints just to sort of publicly shame Ezekiel, which I think it's having its effect.
Because it keeps bringing what transpires or what allegedly transpired back into the news cycle. Skip, it's not what you think happened. What can you prove that happened? And the two separate entities, one in Columbus, Ohio, and one in South Florida, came to the same conclusion. We've come to the conclusion through our work and due diligence that we can't prove anything happened. The NFL, the NFL is an entertainment business, Skip. I do not believe, even though they have the monetary means, I don't believe they can do a better investigative job than the police force. Now, we might not always agree with what the police force finds. And I'm not saying, hey, there have been some times before. But, Skip, at some point in time, we can't say every time something doesn't go in our favor, well, they didn't get it right. And the commissioner being able to say, this is a year. I mean, if I do something and the police says, okay, but then Fox like, well, you know, we still might dole out some punishment in 2019 or 2020. Skip, you just had this situation with Tom Brady. Had this drag into the season. Now you got a top 10 player through the rankings. The players said that we think Ezekiel Elliott is a top 10 player, as you mentioned, after 1 year. Do you really want that to come into this season? Everybody talked about Tom Brady wasn't playing, but everybody was talking about Tom Brady should be playing. If Ezekiel Elliott missed some parts of the season, they're going to be talking about Ezekiel Elliott not playing, but why isn't he playing? This thing should have been adjudicated long time ago. Commissioner, I don't care if you get everything right moving forward. You can never go back and undo 2014. It's documented.
Guess what else you can't undo? The fateful night of August the 4th, 2011, when the players, I thought, just caved in because they wanted their football back.
Yes.
And they said, okay, we give up. We give you, Mr. Commissioner, among a lot of things they conceded, but they conceded absolute dictatorial power to that commissioner. He has absolute power, what's the phrase, and it can corrupt absolutely, right?
Yes.
But whatever, he still has the right and the might to drop the hammer at any moment. He could say tomorrow, he's gone for 6 games, the first 6 games of the season. Then they could appeal and see if they could get it to 4. But the point is, he has the power to do it, and Jerry can squawk all he wants. He can get on whatever phone he wants to get on.
I don't believe he will do it. I believe this would be very detrimental to Commissioner Goodell's NFL commissionership if he were to spend Ezekiel Elliott. Because, Skip, there are 32 owners, and they protect that shield. But we know how this thing works, Skip. Jerry Jones and Mr. Kraft, they carry a major. They do. Because even when everybody was calling for commissioner's job, it was Jerry Jones that rounded up the John Mara, that got the Bob Kraft, that got the Jerry Richardson down to Charlotte.
That's true.
He got them together and said, hey, we stand behind the commissioner. You don't want to get on his bad side.
Quick question. why do you always refer, and everybody does, to Bob Kraft as Mr. Kraft, but no one ever calls Jerry Jones Mr. Jones? Do they ever?
Because Jerry calls me Jerry, and Mr.
He's
Kraft.
Jerry. He's just Jerry.
He is, but I can't call him Mr. Jones like I can Mr. Kraft. It just happens. I mean, most coaches.
Does that mean that Bob Kraft is more respected than
No.
Jerry Jones?
No. Both of them show me great respect. It's just habit. Because like coaches, if I play for the coach, I can call Mike, but I can never call Dan Reeves by his first name. It's always Coach Reeves or Coach Billick.
Because he's your first.
Right.
Okay, final thought. And I hope Ezekiel Elliott is watching at this moment. History would tell me, his history, that he will get suspended at some point in his NFL career. And I hope I'm wrong about that. But that's what history is screaming at you right now, that he's going to dare the devil too many times, and one time he's going to step completely over the line.
Well, he says he's learned a lot, that you can't do certain things in Dallas and
Yeah,
being in the NFL. I'm just saying what he's saying, Skip.
No, we'll see. But Skip, to your point of absolute power corrupting absolutely, this goes back to the Ray Rice situation. There's no system for punishment when there's one person making all the decisions.
That's true.
Unless, you happen to be
Well, they didn't have a system
truly, and you make no mistakes. I'm joking. You're going to make a mistake. You're going to make a wrong ruling.
Well, there was no
you have
system
to have a system. You have to have someone else telling you, hey, we should do this, or maybe you should rethink that, and that's the problem.
But they didn't know how to handle it because they had never had anything like this before, Skip.
Nope.
They got stuff on the books where you get a DUI, if you drug test, this is the game. But with this situation,
there needs to be someone else there giving some advice.
oh, I totally agree.
No mercy. NFL Network has finished revealing their list of the top 100 players. Tom Brady was voted #1. Aaron Rodgers is 6th, despite leading the league with 40 touchdown passes. The list was voted on by the players. Let's take a look at some of the notable names from the list. Brady is followed by Von Miller. Julio Jones is ranked 3rd ahead of fellow receiver Antonio Brown. Aaron Rodgers is 6th, followed by Ezekiel Elliott. Reigning MVP Matt Ryan came in 10th, and Dak Prescott was 14th.
Wow.
We're joined by Rob Parker.
Rob,
What's
how are you, Rob?
Good to see you.
So good to
Happy 4th of July.
Where's your prop?
Happy 4th. No problem.
Did you
Not
bring
yet.
fireworks?
No fire. I did fireworks. I always bring fireworks.
Yeah.
But I also almost threw up in my mouth after seeing that list.
How do you explain Tom Brady being ranked ahead of Aaron Rodgers?
The NFL Network, the F in NFL Network must stand for fanboy, because that's a fanboy move to put Tom Brady at #1.
Time out. The players,
The players voted on this.
This is ridiculous.
You think the NFL Network juggled the results a
Manipulated.
little bit?
Skip, this is my issue. It's prisoner of the moment. That's what it is. The whole idea or notion that Tom Brady at 40 years old is the best player in the NFL. And I get it. The last game we saw in the NFL was the Super Bowl, right? So
You missed those other 12?
No, I don't care about the other 12. I'm talking about the Super Bowl. I watched Aaron Rodgers.
You did?
40 touchdowns, 7 picks, had a biblical run.
Wait.
Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
But wait a second. You said you didn't care about the regular season.
No, I'm just saying, when you look at the body of work and you tell me who the best player in that league is, it's no question Aaron Rodgers should be #1, even ahead of Julio Jones and Von Miller. He's the best player in that league. You look at that Green Bay team, you know it's not nearly as good as it performs, and they won another division. They went into Detroit, last game of the season, the division on the line, the whole 9 yards, and of course he won. He beat Dallas in Dallas, hottest team in football. The Tom Brady stuff is all fueled because Atlanta choked in the Super Bowl, and I get it. Tom Brady was the beneficiary of it, and that's why they just can't let it go. Tom Brady is not, N-O-T, the best football player in the NFL. And for the players, if they voted for it, I have no idea what they're drinking. And the NFL Network to continue to dish out the propaganda, I'm not buying.
I'm disappointed.
That's what it is, propaganda.
Skip, I want you to go first. But I'm surprised Rob didn't come out here with a bloat shirt.
What?
Bogus list of all time.
There you go. I love it. Tom Brady's out the bloat. I like that. Shannon, very nice.
I lost money because I bet Skip you was coming out.
You call him the Loat?
The load.
No,
But it could have been
luckiest
luckiest of all time. The bloat is beautiful.
By the way, Tom Brady was so lucky that in 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls, he played the 2 greatest fourth quarters in the history of the greatest game in this country. Happy 4th of July, America. And he went in the first one against Seattle, the Legion of Boom. I'm going to remind you, he went 13 of 15 in the fourth quarter for 124 and 2 touchdowns. And then against Atlanta, again, you can say Atlanta choked, but the defense wasn't choking, and he shredded the defense that had shredded him for 3 quarters.
Skip, how can you...
Am I right? Because you told me, boy, for 3 quarters,
he was awful.
He was old, and he should have retired after 3 quarters. But in the fourth quarter and overtime, he goes 21 of 27 for 246 and a touchdown and pulls it out at the end of the game. Wow. And then, speaking of the regular season, you kept telling me no Gronk, no hardware, correct?
I was right for 3 quarters.
No Gronk, hardware. No Gronk, hardware. Because without Gronkowski for the last 8 games, not only did Tom Brady almost win the QBR chase.
Did he win it, Skip?
No, but he came within decimal points of Matt Ryan, who barely won it at 83.1 to Brady's 82.8. So he had, by all standards, a very good, if not great year.
Did he play a team that was over 500 during the regular season?
He didn't have Gronkowski for the last 8 games. He's throwing to Edelman and Amendola and Chris Hogan.
They're in the league, Skip.
Okay.
All of a sudden,
they're in the league.
They're in the league. Aren't they good enough?
They're in the league? Are you kidding me? So, again, he did all that at age 39, playing the toughest position in sports. So, obviously, quarterbacks should dominate this list, and I'm going to give both of you only 1 point here. If Aaron Rodgers is, in fact, the second best quarterback, and I'm going to give you that, then he should be number 2 on this list. It's a quarterback's league. Again, is he more valuable than Von Miller? Right now, would any GM take Aaron Rodgers over Von Miller? Yes.
Every GM would take Aaron Rodgers over Von Miller.
Would they take him over any receiver, Julio, Antonio, whoever you want to throw out there? Yes, they would take him.
I think what this list shows us is what the players value.
Okay.
They look at what they look at what Antonio Brown, they look at what Julio and Von Miller's done. Because think about this, Von Miller is the second best player, but he didn't even win Defensive Player of the Year. That went to Khalil Mack.
He didn't even make the playoffs.
So that just goes to show you. But what I was struck by, Skip, is that I'm looking at Zeke. The player said Zeke is the 7th best player,
Boy, that's
even
impact.
his rookie season.
Oof.
Now, Dak was 14th.
That's pretty impressive, too.
And then when you look at it, Zeke got votes for MVP, but Dak wins Rookie of the Year. So they're all over the place of voting and what's value and what's the best player.
No mercy. Thanks for listening, everyone. We're back tomorrow, normal time, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Former Notre Dame head coach Charlie Weiss is here. We'll see you then. Fox Sports, 1 of 1.